Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Coach Dad podcast.
Well done, Austin.
So hello, my name is Ben and welcome to the 5th instalment of the Coach Dad podcast. Now on this week's episode, I am going to have a look at finance in the world of grassroots football.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
I'm going to have a look at it from my perspective of being a parent and also a coach, having my toes now dipped in the side of being inside a club and on a committee and knowing a little bit about how finances are divvied up. This all came to light recently where I was reading through some posts online on a Facebook forum group where question was asked, what should their child get in return for their fees? Should it be a basic, a kit, a training kit? And I basically don't think there's a right or wrong answer. A lot of it is dependent on club size. Are you an affiliated club? Are you a one-team club? Because depending on what finances there in the pot, pretty much determines what you're going to get and how your club is run. So there is not really a right or wrong answer. I'll go through it a little bit later on and I'll get into the bare bones of, is it a standalone club? Is it a multi-team club or a youth branch of an established club? Talk a little bit about affiliation and grants and just my experience, as I say, as a parent and a coach. But before I get into that topic, I am going to talk about last weekend's football.
This week's football news.
So as I record this, I'm a little bit out of sync with where I was when I started. The reason was I had a bit of a break because we had an Easter weekend sort of slap bang in the middle of me doing these podcasts. And the night I normally record on a Thursday, my wife had some time off and around the bank holiday weekend, so we went off and did some family things and sort of football and all the rest of it took a bit of a back seat. Yeah, so basically the football news is a couple of weeks old now, but I'll bring it right up to speed as I'm going to sort of try and thrash this episode out, get through editing and all the rest of it over the next sort of night so it falls in sync with coming out and it should bring us right back up to date. But yeah, sort of the last round of games we had then was now a couple of weekends ago and sort of varying sort of results for both my lads, Austin and Caleb, and my little team. So yeah, for my little team, it was the last round of scheduled league fixtures before the Easter break. We were told by the league that after the Easter break, we would then enter a little mini league type thing with equally balanced teams. So that way there was some competitive games because there is a massive span between the haves and the have-nots essentially. So yeah, that was promised to us that would all be pulled together sort of for the fixtures in April. It changed a bit. I'll get into that and I'll have my say on that in a little bit. But like I say, it was the last round of games for my little team of ballers. Now, this game had some positives and some negatives, as they always do. I actually, for the first time, I think, maybe it was the week before, but this week I had all 10 of my available players, which was an absolute nightmare to juggle and handle. And I was also reffing the game as well. Couldn't find a ref. I didn't want Caleb to do it. So I done the duties of reffing and sort of managing as well. And yeah, the lads were great actually on the side. I thought, oh no, am I going to be able to keep control of them? Am I going to be able to keep them entertained?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you were here?
My little lad Caleb actually did take it for warm-ups and stuff like that when they went on, but it was rotating pretty heavy a lot all the time and trying to remember, who's had 5-10 minutes here and there. Obviously with 10 kids in a 40-minute game, that only gives them 20 minutes each if you divvy it up fairly, and I tried to be as fair and honest as I could with it. But yeah, to the game, set up, met the manager. We were playing a team called Heacham Miners. Haven't played them. We were due to play them a few months back. Again, got called off because of weather, so we never played this team before. And we actually got off to a bit of a flying start, and it's the first time we went into the break winning a game or leading a game. And yeah, there was sort of hope there that this could well be the one. But I think with all the rotations and the chopping and changing, the game fell away from us in the second half, and it did end up in a negative result, but not so bad. Like I say, these are little steps that we're taking each week, each and every week, and the last episode was dejected and talking about how sort of, I couldn't see how it is going to get, any better, and then sort of a week later, we're winning a game halfway through, and it's like, yeah, so things in football change quick in a week with your sort of youth teams and that, and I thought it could be the one, but no, it fell away, and I'm at the stage now where I'm pretty comfortable. I've got a fairly, if I weren't one of the managers who was fair, I wanted to be scrupulous and I wanted to win games. I've got a solid 5 at the minute. I've got a regular goalkeeper now. One of the boys plays in goal, and I've got a solid, starting 5 or 6 now. And I think if I had those 5 or 6 now, and I played them, and I dipped in with all the newer lads, only played them a little bit here and there, I think, results would come, but that's just not the way I'm wired. I give everybody equal time, so it may end up that the team may be a little bit lopsided at times, and we may concede 3 or 4 really quickly, but that's all a lesson to learn, and we do that all together. I'm not prepared to go back on my sort of mission statement at the beginning of the season where I said everyone's going to get equal time. I'm going to treat everyone fairly regardless of ability, and yeah, that's how it played out in this game, and that is probably what cost us in the end. But that feeling of, come on boys, we're at half time now, we're in a game where, if we can concentrate, we do our basics and all the rest of it, we might get the W on this one. But unfortunately, the game fell away from us, and it ended up being another negative result. But again, massive progress from the boys. When we're scoring goals and we're in games, that's nothing but a positive and progress. My little lad Austin, hard to judge everyone's performance, and his performance was much the same as probably 6 or 7 or 8 of them, that they did their little bit, they played their part, but when you've only got 20 minutes, it's sort of hard to judge. He didn't score any goals, didn't pull up any trees, but he did his part. When he came on, he played well, got his passes off, had a few shots and that. But yeah, so for him, sort of steady progress. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with where the boys are at. Now, for Caleb, Caleb had an away game against a team called Marshall and St James. If you recall, maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, I talked about it. They played them in the League Cup, and Marshall absolutely took them to the cleaners. It ended up being 7-8, 9-0, I think, in the end. So, yeah, this team were up again in the league, and when you come up with this team, you're sort of a team like this, you always fear the worst for the boys, but they got off to a good start, a good solid start. Caleb started the game, he played it right back. They actually went quite heavy at the back. He went 4 at the back. I think the coach's mindset was to soak up a bit of pressure, see how they were, and then go from there. And this is under 12s now, so results are published. The boys are a bit older, maybe learning about in-game management, change of systems and stuff like that. It's all brilliant stuff. I love all that. So yeah, they got to half time and they were only 1-0 down, and the goal was a bit of a sloppy one, really. I think it was a corner that come in and it hit a player. Because it was such a windy day, it sort of, the winds took it and sailed over the goalkeeper, and they went into the break 1-0 down, and then I think they ended up being maybe 2-0 down, and then they changed the system maybe with 10-15 minutes to go. Caleb actually was pulled off. He totally understood that it was a system change. They obviously went from soaking up some pressure to then trying to put the pressure on, and they got a goal back into the game, but I think the game ended up 3-4-1 in the end maybe, which on reflection was probably a fairish result. Marshall did heavily put on the pressure. They were on the front foot most of the game. The keeper for Caleb's team got man of the match. He was he's got a lot of man of match this year. He's been outstanding. And that's what I said to Caleb. Obviously, he's talked about being a goalkeeper and wanting to maybe give it a go. But the little lad who plays in goal for his team is if he wants to stay in goal, he's going to be a great goalkeeper. And yeah, he made some terrific saves, but unfortunately, just wasn't enough. Caleb's performance actually a bit of a positive one this week. He started at the back. I think he played on the right side of a 4 at the back. You could say right back, and he was winning his battle. And he was getting balls sort of forward and down the wing and over the top, asking to do what he's, hit the wings, hit the corners for the boys to chase and try and catch him out in behind. And he did that fairly well. He does need to work on his throwing, so that's probably the biggest thing to come from that game. I don't think he sort of quite understands an arc of how to throw the ball, but he does all right. He done really well in that game. So yeah, that was it for the football in our household. And now getting onto the coming weeks. So as this podcast goes out, Easter weekend has just gone. There were no fixtures scheduled for our teams. My boys' team, my little group of under 8s, there was no scheduled fixture, and Caleb's team also, because it was Easter Sunday, they had no scheduled fixture. Now, I'm not sure how parents feel about half term and games, and I'll talk a little bit about that now and how my game coming up is being affected, and talk about the football to come over the next couple of weeks, over the last month of the scheduled fixtures. But me as a parent and a coach, it is nice to have a break. I know there's people out there who absolutely love their football, and they will do it 2 times a week, twice on a Sunday and once on a Saturday, etc, etc. That's just not for me. I love my football, I love doing my training, I love the games, I love learning about it, talking about it on a podcast. I watch football religiously, but I do like that time where it's half term, let's have a break, have a week off and recharge. That's for me, and I'll talk about it in a second about the fixture I got coming up at the weekend and why half term has affected that. But yeah, I just think let people have a break. When half term comes around, I'm not a fan of when leagues schedule fixtures in. Now, my boys who were at Swaffham last year, I'll name the club, they were at Swaffham last year, and it seemed to be the league that they were in, which was some sort of Norfolk combination league, I think it's called. They were quite clever with the scheduling, and they avoided a lot of school holidays. I know it can be unavoidable sometimes with these leagues and whoever put out the fixtures and that there's fixture congestion and need to get games in. But I'm a bit of a believer in just leave some of the half terms alone, either side, or maybe just have one scheduled fixture, because people do get away, you lose players. And a prime example of that is the league that I'm in now, in the Mid Norfolk Youth League, which is predominantly based around a town called Kings Lynn in Norfolk, which I'm only sort of 10-15 miles away from. The league, or whoever looks after our age group, said that in April there will be a round robin competition. You'll be the 3 or 4 weekends that there are. You will be paired with equal teams, and you will have a little round robin. So, it's competitive, everyone gets good games, hopefully you're not on the end of 20-0ers and all the rest of it. And then sort of a week or so before, it came out, and they popped it on the group WhatsApp that all the managers are in, that actually they're going to do a knockout league competition. Then once all the teams are out, they will then set up these friendly games against other opposition of equal, billing. So you'll get a good run of games, good competitive close games. So typically I'm sort of a little bit hesitant, but they go, oh, here we're going to do the draw on this night, and then a couple of days later they post it in the WhatsApp group. And of course we have played 20 odd games this season, all had negative results. We sit bottom of the bottom league, I'm guessing, if there is, the league table is there. And of course we get someone in the top division who are just a fantastic team, and we actually played them before the leagues got balanced out at Christmas, and it was one of the first 2 or 3 games we played. Clenchwater, they're called, Navy, and they absolutely hammered us. They've got a brilliant team, they've got a great collection of players, they're a great run club, and they've just got, they've got 3 or 4 teams, I believe, at their age group, and they just they were a fantastic team, and they absolutely annihilated us. And of course, we get drawn against them. I did sort of jokingly put in the WhatsApp group, I said, well, I appreciate it's competition and we'll fulfill our fixture. Sort of tongue in cheek said, I don't know who this is. This isn't going to benefit sort of any of my lads, is it? Kicking, trying to chase a ball for 40 minutes and lose 20 odd nil. Who is this benefiting? Can we just can we forfeit now? Sort of bit of a wink and a exclamation mark. And but I arranged the game anyway, and for this weekend coming, and I arranged it. I talked to the coach of the opposition, and I sort of cheekily said, put out your weakest team if you want, be fair to us. And he sort of laughed and joked. He said, "Nah, it's cup football, anything can happen," which is true.
The biggest game of their careers, one of the biggest gaps you could ever see in an FA Cup tie in terms of league position. But Maidstone United have done it! The side from the 6th tier of the English game have come to a ground that might be in the Premier League next season. And they've won!
So we set the game up, and then I put it on my band group this Saturday, 11:30 kickoff. Annoying time. Being a Norwich fan, the East Anglian derby is on at 12:30, so the game would have finished on 12:30, and then I'd have to travel home, so I'd miss that. But that aside, we set it up for 11:30. I put it on the band group, and straight away 6 people said they're away on holiday, can't make it, all the rest of it. And I only had 3 confirmed, so we're sitting at Tuesday, Wednesday, and I got 3 players confirmed for a game where I need a minimum of 5. And in that 6 is probably flip it. They're probably my 6 I'd start with, or 5. 5 in that 6 I'd start with. So it weren't looking rosy. So I had a sort of quick word with all the parents and just double check that they're away. Like I say, we're from a small village. RAF. I've got a lot of RAF kids and stuff like that. So when term time ends, it's school holidays, a lot of them go away. So I put that in my postponement form. I rely heavily on these players, and I've got 3. So I'm going to need to. I put in my postponement request. Told the other coach of Clenchwarton that unfortunately I'm not going to be able to make the game, and put it to the league, etc., etc. And I put a postponement in, and that was it essentially. So we're already out of the cup. Annoyingly, because of the imbalance in numbers and to have a knockout format, there were, 10, 11 games or whatever, and then there was an X amount of teams who had buys. So it's just really annoying, couldn't we have been a bye team? We could have officially had a victory there, we'd take it any way it comes. But no, we were in the pot and we didn't get a bye. We got drawn against a team, and just because of school holidays, I couldn't field a team. So this coming Saturday, my little under 8 team do not have a scheduled game because I just don't have the players. I had to cancel training in the week as well. Or not cancel it, I just knew I don't mind doing training, like I say, with smaller groups, because it gives you a bit of extra one-on-one time, but when is essentially going to be free of you, it's a lot of time and effort. So I thought, let's have a break this week. We'll get back to it next Wednesday for the game the week after, and we're ready to go. We should be at the end of the 2-week Easter bank holiday period, and we should be good to roll. But yeah, one thing that was funny that did sort of come out in the band group was there was a league AGM, and then in the band group, not in the band group, sorry, in the one of the groups went a list of bullet points, and the first one was can't call off game for any reason. I felt that was it almost felt personal. It almost felt aimed at me, but it was only I said it tongue in cheek, can we forfeit? And then a few days later, I've had to cancel the game. Now, not being funny, I've gone all season with these boys. We've had a hard sort of run of it, but the lads turn up every week. It doesn't matter what combination of boys I've got. They always go out there and give it 100%. I've not called off a game yet until this weekend. So even when I haven't been available, I've managed to get a stand-in manager so the boys still get a run out. I've trained every week religiously, apart from when weather has, an act of God, essentially. Weather has stopped that or put a stop to it. So it's not like I'm calling off a game for any reason. You get one call off a season that you can do sort of free of charge, they say, and then anything after that has to be, circumstances have to be pretty well. There have to be pretty good circumstances if you call off a game. Now, obviously, 3 players is pretty good circumstances. So again, that gets back to sort of, the bank holiday time and the school holidays. Sometimes, I know these leagues have a format and schedules and fixtures. They've all got to get it in. But sometimes it might be worth staying away from a weekend here or there. Obviously, because at our age group, leagues don't need to be completed because obviously it's non-competitive. Obviously, behind the scenes, I know there's a lot going on, but it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. If a fixture doesn't get put onto the end of the season, that's been postponed and then played, it doesn't matter if that gets missed, essentially. But yeah, I think the whole sort of next load of fixtures for my under-8s team, perhaps it could have all been thought of a little bit differently. Personally felt for me, I'm not throwing shade on anyone here, but I just felt it could have been organised perhaps a little bit more, it could have been organised better essentially, and a little bit further ahead it essentially got to a week or two out where they went, no, it's going to be a cup competition. So, we got, after this weekend with a bit of a break, we have got 3 weeks of fixtures left before that is it, the end of the season, and then thoughts and everything turns to next season and where we go from there. So yeah, and next week and this weekend though, my lad Caleb does have a game. He's got a game against Refley. Again, they played them 2 or 3 weeks ago in a league game. It was an absolutely fantastic game. It was 4-2, and I'm hoping for another great game this weekend. I'm looking forward to watching that one. Hope he gets on well with it. So I'll try and catch an interview with him actually this week. So yeah, I've ran on a bit there, but yeah, that's it for football news in my household and what's to come in April. But yeah, that'll be a lot for this week's football news. Now, to get into the meat of it, this is going to be a bit about finance. I've just talked a little bit about, it's nearly the end of the season. There will be a mad dash for players as age groups move up from 5 aside to 7 aside, 7 aside to 9 aside, 9 aside to 11 aside. Squads will naturally expand. There'll be new kids come on board. There'll be new parents come on board, and I think this plays perfectly into what should a parent expect from any fees and money that they pay. The whole finance in football. So yeah, finance in football. Essentially, this all started with and came about because I see a post on Facebook. Now, I've printed it off. I've actually done a bit of research here. Do you hear that? It's actual paper, that is. I've printed this off and I will read the Facebook post. So it was on the Grassroots hub on Facebook, and essentially it said, this was from a parent: "Good evening, as a club, are you required to provide match kits, training kits, jumpers, jackets, etc. for kids as part of subs under 8 ? Thank you." Now obviously that sprung right to my attention because I'm a brand new coach, I'm fairly new to the world of football, and I've got a group of under 8, so I've gone through the mill of knowing a little bit about paying fees last year and what we got from it, and also now what I've had to do as a coach to get kits, equipment, etc., and where money came from what, essentially. So yeah, great question, and of course there was a load of different responses. Mine was obviously lots of clubs rely on each age group getting a sponsor unless you're a big club, so it depends on club size and how they do things. Normally within your age group, someone will sponsor a kit. I coach my team and my work sponsors the kit. I'm desperate land to more sponsors for training, tops, etc. But yeah, so I'll get into it again. There was lots of sort of back and forths on there, people sort of getting irate, I think, and all the rest of it, and their viewpoints. But as I said at the very top of this episode, I don't actually believe there is a right or wrong answer what happens to your subs. Obviously, it'd be nice if you got a kit. I think that should be the bare basics of things. But again, I'll roll back a little bit to the beginning of the season when I became a coach and I got some training equipment, but that was not much else. We started off as a bit of a bibs team. So, but yeah, for instance, a chap called Steve's responded. He goes, "No, personally, I think it's a dick move if your club don't supply a kit. Why would you not supply the kit and just build in relatively small cost to subs and fees or get sponsored for the kit. I mean, there was loads of responses. Then sub responses. A chap called Richard. We, as most will, have a kit sponsor, then sponsors for jackets, tracksuits, hoodies, etc. Any local business will be happy to sponsor something. It's a tax write-off for them, and the club gets merch. Don't forget to include the coaches in to order in. I know what you're saying. He's obviously a coach, so yeah, it'd be nice if the coach got some apparel as well, because I've had to buy my own apparel as well, which we have a club shop on a Joma website, so I've got my own essentially. But yeah, Dave's responded to Richard Day, said, "We've not found that easy," shared across Facebook, reached out to housing development firms building in the area and just ignored. It's still a cost to them, just a reduction in taxable amount. So yeah, I know I'm getting into sort of deep into various sort of caveats and all the rest of it, but I'll just take you through my experience and essentially what I think of it all. So as a parent at a semi-professional club last year with both of my boys, we were asked to sign up. The fee was 50 quid or whatever, so bang went your 50 quid. Then for both of them, it worked. Each week there was no money paid for training, just when they had a game, £5. For that £5, what the boys got, we got kits at the start of the season, which was sponsored. We got tracksuits, and my oldest boy Caleb also got an away kit, which is a very nice away kit, to be fair, and I believe he still got it. No one ever asked for it back. As you were aware on previous episodes, I was gonna run his under 12s team, but that obviously never happened. So yeah, he's kept his kit and no one's asked for it back, so he's still got the kit. But obviously it works similar there. So it was a semi-professional club, so everybody had to wear the same kit. So it had to be the Joma kit, sort of Newcastle looking kit, black and white stripes. But within each team, people were sponsoring, all the managers and coaches were finding sponsors for all this stuff, which was fairly easy to come by, I believe. So, I didn't actually know about that at the time. But yeah, when we signed up, the kit was given to us and there was not too many questions asked. Obviously, I've talked a bit about it on the first and second episode, how there was a big fallout with finances within this club because of how the money in the pot was geared up to go to the first team. And again, that's how a big club like that may or may not operate. Finance, if the first team don't run, then none of the other stuff runs. So a lot of the finance is geared up to go towards a first team. And then we obviously moved away from Swaffham Football Club as it was at the time, and then my little lad Caleb then moved across to Watlington, where he plays now. And again, we had to wait for the kit to be ordered, but I was asked by the manager what size he was. A few weeks later, he got a kit turned up, brand new Joma, lovely kit. He then got a rain jacket. He then got a training kit, which is sponsored by it's got McDonald's and the location down the market on it, lovely. Got a bag that had the local fish and chip shop stuff on it, put your stuff in. The coaches in there are brilliant. They whacked it out on the WhatsApp group. You can buy personalised sliders, you can buy extra kit, this and that, and just bang your order in and he'll get it. All Caleb's stuff has turned up personalised with his initials on and his number. So again, fantastic. And again, we just pay signing on fee 20-30 quid, and we pay every month by a direct debit or whatever is standard order, £20 a month, and that just covers everything. You don't have to say no more. You get your 3, 4, 5 nights of training, depends on how many Fridays there are in a month, and also you get your game covered. So I think that's tremendous value and testament to how the club's run there. That again, we were not asked for any extra money. We've not been asked to chip in towards kits. Now, the club I'm at now, when I started this, only a few weeks in, I asked, how do I go about getting a kit? Because, as you're aware, when I took over this job, there was only a couple of weeks to go to the start of the season, and I had very little knowledge about where does, who provides a kit. My assumption was that there would be a kit perhaps for us. But our first couple of games, we were a bibs team, essentially, and I had to sort of scrounge around the clubhouse, and there was a sort of... It's actually been really nicely done now, where all the old kits have been packaged up together in sizes and that was done by a couple of guys who went in there, and I think they were pretty new to it this year as well, and they've done a lot of work around the clubhouse to do a few improvements, and they sorted it out, tidied it all up, put all the kits together nicely, and we ended up getting pretty much hand-me-downs, mix and match kits, but they all had the badge on, the kits, and they were roughly all the same colours and sizes. So yeah, after a couple of weeks we ended up having this hand-me-down kit. And for sponsorship, I was told that if I could find a sponsor, they would then order a kit. Again, the club all the teams have the same kit, which is obviously common across the board. I believe every club I've been at, from first team to the youth teams, all have the same sort of, say, Joma or whoever, and then depending on your sponsor, the sponsor will change on it. So yeah, I said, yeah, if I can get a sponsorship, I'll do it. And I knew my boss would do it at my work, so I just asked my boss, said, do you fancy giving us a few £100 to sponsor our football kit, and I'll get your name put on it, on the company name put on it. And he was like, yeah, no problem, just whatever you need, mate, just go ahead and get it. So I had that there, got that on order. Now, our kit did take a few months to turn up. Actually, I won't go too much into it, but sort of the turnaround time and how the club did things. Again, each club operates differently, but we didn't have a kit turn up until Christmas, so halfway through the season. Now, I had parents asking me, when is the kit arriving? Because again, I think they thought that kits, were part of the subs. We pay maybe 150 quid a year. You can either pay it instalments or one-off fees. There or thereabouts, 130 or 150, and I think a lot of parents think for that return you should at least get a kit. So yeah, which is fair enough. I think I would expect that, and that's my only thing about, again, getting back to that Facebook post, is I believe that if you sign up for a club, the very basic you should get is a first team kit, or you should have a kit of some sort supplied, and then the rest, will come thereafter. So yeah, I was fighting off parents for a little bit. They weren't too bad, but I had one or two sort of, when's the kit arriving? Mostly the boys, to be fair. I mean, we were turning up ragtag each week, bibs, early on, and then mix match kits. We didn't really look like a proper team, to be fair. And then, like I say, once Christmas come, we got the kits, and it's really nice feeling dishing out all the kits to everybody. And now I've got the boys asking me when we getting training kits, because they've got brothers who play, or older people. We see the other teams turn up and they're in flashy kits and all the rest of it. But yeah, I'm trying to raise sponsorship for that as well. Again, I've got one or two people I can lean on. I'm going to get to the end of this season, because I need to get a couple more kits, because the team's expanding from 5-a-side to 7-a-side, so my squad numbers are going to go up a little bit. So I need to get a couple more kits, and ideally I've got to try and source some sponsorship for training kits. I'd love an away kit as well, but baby steps, one thing at a time. So yeah, that's sort of my thoughts really on kits and what you should get for your few quid that you pay. Should you get a kit? Yeah, I believe you should. But training stuff, you've got to remember, for either your fees you pay each week, or your signing on fee, and then your instalments, or if you pay a one-off fee, there is a lot of things that need to happen to that money just for your kids to play football. You've got things like, first off, you need to register with the FA. Now that's a fee. If you deregister, that's a fee. You've got insurance. Every player's got to be covered by a group insurance. So each club will have a group insurance, which is a very high premium. You've got then each team. So I was a new team this year. I needed balls, I needed cones, I needed equipment, all the stuff that comes with it. Obviously, we've got goals where we are. With our football pitch is purely for our club. It's owned, and the space is owned, and it's for use all year round. Whereas I know some kids, some teams have cricket. So that's why the season ends in April, because that's when the cricket season starts. So a lot of pavilions and places where football takes place then turns into cricket pitches. So that's why the season stops in April. But yeah, like parents asking, what should you get? That money has to go a long way. Now, when you think 150 quid, a kit costs anywhere between, depends on what supplies you get and how highbrow you are. If you can do with a Pro Star it was, or if you want Nike. I know a lot of people use Joma now, really nice, well-made kits. So you're talking, it could be anywhere between 15 to 30, 40 quid a pop for a full kit. So you times that by 10 lads, you got 400 or 500 quid there. Then you've got all your insurances, like say your registration, everything else. And then when you sort of look at training tops again, you're talking, again, if you want the full kit, you might want just the top and some shorts, or you may want a training kit, or you may want a training tracksuit. So, you could be talking another 50 quid there. So like I'm saying, if you're paying fees of 150 quid a year or a couple hundred quid, and you're expecting tracksuits and everything back, that money almost eats up itself in signing on fees, your affiliation, your insurances, and then you want all these kits and you're only paying sort of a couple hundred quid. The balance is there, you know what I'm saying? So again, being at a club last year where it was semi-pro and it almost felt like the money was sucked up. So you can sort of see now where we're getting at with what should you expect for your food quid each week. There's a lot go on, a lot of divvying up of finances, and it's not as just straightforward as just, well, I've paid 100 quid this year, I should get £100 worth of this back. Unfortunately, it doesn't all work like that. A lot of coaches, the club will put them through their badges and they will reimburse them or pay for them to do it. So again, if you want a qualified coach to coach your kids and try and get the best out of them, they're going to need courses and all the rest of it. So again, money goes towards FA courses and training courses and stuff like that. So it's all not cheap. There's a lot go on, and a lot that needs paying for. I know there's some ways and means around it. If your club is fully affiliated, there can be grants and stuff like that. I believe fully affiliated means all your coaches within your age groups are all doing level 1, or they've done, level 1 or level 2 qualification courses within the club. But you got people who break away and start up their own clubs. I talked about it. My boy Caleb, his old club, they went and set up by themselves, and they did well to find all their finances and get the club off the ground. It must be sort of tough, unless I know they did a lot of that through gaining sponsorship, because if not, your £5 a week trying to run a football club is probably not going to cut it. It's not going to balance the book. So yeah, it's one of those funny things with the finance in football. And anybody listening to this want to sponsor me some training kits, just send me a message. We'll sort it out. Yeah. Moving forward, love to get some training kits for my boys, maybe even a away kit. But that's just how it goes. Where we are in Norfolk, a lot of teams play in yellow. We play in sort of an off yellow gold colour. It's meant to be yellow, but I think they call it Indian yellow because that's where the kits were ordered from. So yeah, it'd be nice to have an away kit instead of sort of having to play in bibs every now and then. But yeah, so my own personal journey with finances this year, I mean, I could have moaned and screamed, oh, what? I've got to find my own sponsors. I've got to get this for my boys. I've got to get this, kits and blah, blah, blah. My club gave me the equipment at the start. They gave me all the balls. They gave me all the cones and, the chair, first aid kit. Didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. The only thing I had to raise myself was some sponsorship to get some kits, and I think going forward there's now always going to be spare kits for the new teams coming home. So I think I'll get another year out of my kit, and I'll then probably nudge the boss again and see if we can get another kit. But again, getting back to that original Facebook post from an anonymous poster, what should I get for my fees? They didn't actually put how much they put, but again, there is not really going to be a right or wrong answer to that. Like I say, you might be a small club or one-team club. You may be part of a youth outfit for a semi-professional club, or you may be a buoyant multi-team youth clubs, and they all do it a different way. And the more established you get, I believe, the easier it will become, because, reputation, finance, you've got all that heritage there of old kits and all the rest of it. And yeah, one thing I actually didn't talk about was like grants as well. So again, affiliated clubs get grants. The club that I'm at the minute have got various things going through for a brand new clubhouse, a new tractor to look after, the ground, deep spiking of ground maintenance so we get more games on. So yeah, again, I haven't got a great amount of knowledge on that side of things. But again, each club has their own things going on. Again, the groups I follow on Facebook, I see these things come up about how to apply for certain grants that you can get help with and all the rest of it. I know there's a goalpost grants where if you're a new team, you need goals, you can get a grant for that. You can get subsidised or half the money for floodlights, so when winter comes around you can light up your ground and at least get some training in, because again, light is a premium when winter comes around. Football is essentially a winter sport in the UK, so you need light in the winter. So there are all these other things out there again, but again, your money, your £5 that you pay each week, if that parent on Facebook is listening, that £5 does go to all these things. Your lighting, you've got to have a tractor or someone to cut the grass if it's your own ground, or if it's council, you've got to put a bit towards it. And there's just so much there that is finance based, and it all is needed to help run a club. So to that parent out there who posts on Facebook about what should you get for your fees, well, you get a lot. So you get a lot before you get any of that stuff anyway. So I'd just be sort of thankful of that. I do believe, like I said earlier, that you should get a kit. That's fair enough. You can't argue with that. It'd be nice to have a kit. But again, depending on your club size, your heritage, there may be a kit there, an old kit that you can grab. But things take time. You normally find that in your group of 10, 12 players, parents or whatever, that someone will work for a company or be a builder or something, or someone will know someone. And I don't know if it's a tax write-off or not. I pointed it out in the post there. Someone saying it's a tax write-off or not. I can speak to the account lady at work. She might tell me if it is or not. I believe there is a little bit of subsidy for it and all the rest of it. But yeah, so that's pretty much my sort of dealings and what I think you should expect with finance. Now I'm going to bring this episode to a bit of a close. Before I do, I think I'm slowly getting better at this. I don't know if you agree or not, but week 5, I'm getting the flow a little better. I'm stopping the ums. What's the other thing I notice I say a lot? I do a lot of and I do a lot of obviously. I say that a lot, but yeah. Hopefully you're enjoying it. It's getting better. I'm getting slightly longer with these as well, as I sort of get better with the flow of things, and it's all coming together nicely. I quite enjoy it. I've had a couple of people listen to it that I know, and they've given me the thumbs up. I'm gonna go out there and sort of share it, I think, properly with the world. Might even do a bit of sponsorship so it lands on your Facebook page. Give me a like, download it, listen.
Click that like button, also subscribe, and also smash that like button and click the bell for notifications.
But yeah, so now the season is coming to an end, so my thoughts are now turning to get these few games out of the way, and I'm going to look at the end of season, and that's the subject I'm going to look at. Next week I'm going to have a look at the end of the season and summertime. What do you do as a coach? What is right, what is wrong? As a parent to one child, a break is nice, but also as a coach of a new team looking to improve, should I be putting on extra sessions on a Saturday if we've got a game? Do I look for games in midweek when we train? As we move up to 7v7, I want to try get plenty of games in. Will I lose players? I may well do. I've already had a parent say to me they're going to have a little bit of a break and then they're going to come back to me and see. I naturally lose a player because they move away. So should I look for more players? I have already made a bit of a post that I'm going to ask the club person who put posts out, the welfare officer. I'm going to advertise for a goalkeeper. I've decided that. The little lad who's been playing in goal for me fairly recently, he got sort of halfway through the game on Saturday and decided, can I play up front? So it's like, yes, I'm going to put a post out there, and it's along the lines of I'm looking for, are you the next Edison? Are you the next Tim Krul? Whatever. Are you the next Angus Gunn? If so, I'm looking for a safe pair of hands. Now, I've put in the post that it doesn't matter if you've never played in goal before, if you're new to football. If you want to play in that position, I will allow you the time. I will afford you the time to grow. There will be no judgment, just as long as someone wants to be in goal and stays in goal. I think now moving into 7-side football, under 9s football next year, that I need to nail that one position down. I'm not really bothered about the rest. Anybody can play anywhere, but, So yeah, I'm going to look to the end of season. We've got our end of season presentation already lined up. We're doing parents, players, player, most improved, and player of the season. Obviously, I'd select 3 of those awards. I've seen some stuff online actually recently about, what awards should there be? Should there be for this, for that, and all the rest of it? So yeah, I'll talk about, a bit of end of season, what you're doing. I've actually put together quite a nice, like a FIFA style thing the little badges as they come out the packs, and it's got a picture. So it's a team lineup. It's a picture that I'm going to do. I'm going to hand it out to the boys. Quite a nice little thing that I've done for them. So yeah, I'm going to do that at the end of the season. I'll talk about all that anyway. So the club that I'm at, Sholdham, which is a mile away from Marham, is where I live. Joe Taylor plays for Luton, scored the winner in the playoff final. He's from Marham, and I believe he was down at the presentation last year for photos and handing out a few awards, and I think they're going to try and get him back this year, but not too sure. I think he's doing really well at Lincoln. He was on a bit of a goal scoring spree recently. I keep an eye on, obviously, the local lads. Obviously, the other local lads we got who just down the road at Downham are the Murphy boys. Came through Norwich. Their parents run a restaurant, and that's where my wife works, a place called Arbuckles. And the lads are often coming through there sometimes. I don't know if I should see if I can get a nudge in there. Do you fancy getting one of the Murphy chaps down to help me on a training session, teach the boys some skills? But yeah, so I'm going to look at all that, and I will go into all the variables that there are. But yeah, as for this week, thanks for sticking with me. I've ran on a little bit. I've just realised that I'm at 50 minutes, so I've got to do some editing though, so hopefully I'll get that down. And yeah, I will see you next week, and thanks again for listening.